All right, let's take some bets. How long do you think it's going to be before Rogers the Musical is actually a musical on Broadway? I could do this all day. Welcome back to the TV Corner, everybody. Today we are talking about Hawkeye. Hawkeye follows Clint Barton as he attempts to rectify past mistakes when his time as the assassin Ronin comes back to haunt him. It stars Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. I was excited when I first heard that there was a Hawkeye show coming out because, it's kind of been the running joke that Clint Barton is like the least qualified of the Avengers or like the least impactful.
Okay, look, the city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
So I was like, okay, cool. He's finally going to get his time in the spotlight. I also was a little worried, though, just because it felt like after Endgame, are we getting this a little too late? Kind of like Black Widow. And I was like, how interesting is it going to be? Are they actually going to do his character right? But I was interested to see what they do. And then after I saw the trailer, I had a lot more faith in it because it looked incredibly fun. And I was right. This is such a good show. It's only 6 episodes long, but I really loved it because it definitely does show the importance of Clint Barton and Hawkeye. I love that he was kind of the glue that held everybody together and he settled down and he has family, but this shows him as an important superhero as well, not just some guy who can shoot arrows. And they show this not only through actual action, which is like really cool. I'll get to that in a second. And he is genuinely like blowing people up and can kill everybody in like 30 seconds, which is awesome. But they also show it through the effect he's had on others, specifically with Haley Steinfeld's character, Kate Bishop. I think this was like a letter to the fans of the MCU and of Hawkeye. If you don't think that he's gotten the recognition he deserves, like Kate Bishop is going to do that for you. Out of all the Avengers, she looked up to him the most. Kate Bishop was also incredibly fun. She is definitely one of the best sidekicks we have gotten in recent years in the MCU. She actually kind of reminds me of Korra from Legend of Korra because she's like tall and strong and confident and really good at what she does, but she can also be really awkward and shy and quirky when it comes to certain people or just weird situations in general. So I really loved her. She was definitely one of the most entertaining parts of this, and she and Clint had such a great relationship because it was like mentor-mentee, and they were kind of saving each other at certain points, and I don't know, they just had such a wholesome relationship. And a lot of this wholesomeness comes through the fact that it takes place at Christmas, so the aesthetic of this entire show is so cool. I've never seen a show where Christmas isn't just the backdrop, but an actual vehicle to tell the story. Like for certain characters, they have songs that come up that are Christmas songs that kind of give a tone about them. They have, like sets or an entire Christmas tree that Hawkeye falls into, or lights are everywhere. They had such a really interesting take on how to put this holiday into the show and use it as a way to tell more of the story and progress it. And of course, it also being Christmas really helps to strengthen that friendship and that wholesomeness between the two characters as well, because there is a scene in, I think it's the 3rd or 4th episode, where Kate comes over because Clint is by himself in New York. He doesn't have his family with him. And he celebrates Christmas with her. And they watch movies and they decorate a tree and they bond and listen to Christmas music. And it was awesome. That was probably my favorite scene of the whole series. It was just so much fun, so nice. It really gets you into that Christmas spirit. And it was just really fun to watch aside from the Christmas stuff as well, because there are so many cool scenes that I would never have expected from a show about Hawkeye. Again, thinking that, he's the least interesting of the Avengers, it's not true, because he has so many cool things. And there's this one scene, it's like a fight, where he uses a bunch of these trick arrows, as they call them, not just regular arrows, but ones that explode, ones that do all these different types of things. And there are some that I would never have expected, and some that connect to other things in the MCU, which was so cool. And then it comes back again in another scene at the end, and they just had so many interesting ideas with these trick arrows. It was definitely one of the most fun parts. There's also a lot of other things that are even more fun because it takes place in New York, and they have all these weird sideshows and these interesting events and everything. One of them, if you've probably seen in the trailers, is Rogers the Musical, which is a musical about the fight in the 2012 Avengers with all 6 of them. And there's also another sort of subplot that is really fun that I won't ruin because it is very unexpected and was hilarious. I kind of have some lows, but they're not like too bad. I had a little bit of trouble tracking the story sometimes, and like there's the villains and who's doing what and the motivations of why these people are coming after them because it sort of turns here and there. It's not so much like there's one straight through line with the story. It's more of like they start as one thing and then because of this another villain gets involved and then another one gets involved, and so it was a little confusing to track like who did what and why they were doing it, but it makes sense, once you get to the end and after thinking about it. But it was a little hard to track throughout, but it didn't completely take away from the show or anything. And the finale, which I think is the biggest weakness so far of the MCU shows, is they usually can't really stick the finales as well as we would like them to.
You're Ralph Boner?
I think that this was a pretty good one. It, for me, was a little safe. It was good, but it was safe. Everything just kind of, no pun intended, wrapped up with a bow. I still think that it was really well done. There was nothing like super insane that goes on, but it was really fun. It was really funny. It stuck to the tone of the show, and I definitely had a fun time with it. I do think that it is the best of all the MCU finales so far. So overall, Hawkeye is incredibly fun. It was a very big surprise because for being the superhero that everybody says is a little more lackluster, but is also sort of a fan favorite, I think they did a really good job with not only making his character more important and understanding his character more both as Hawkeye and as Clint Barton, but in doing it in such a fun way that it felt relevant and necessary now. And especially because of the fact that the whole Ronin thing was such like this dark, violent part of him, and we barely got to see that in Endgame because it was such a quick thing. It's super fun. It'll definitely get you into the holiday spirit. I definitely suggest watching it every year around Christmas time. There's so many great cameos and things that I don't want to spoil, but a lot of people who cross over and intersect and everything. It was a really great show, and I want to say it is my favorite of the 5 that came out this year. I'm really shocked, but about halfway through, I thought, if the finale can stick it and doesn't disappoint me, I think this could be my favorite of the 5, and I think that ended up being true. I'm going to give Hawkeye a 4 out of 4. Guys, let me know what you thought of Hawkeye, and let me know what your ranking is of all the MCU shows we've gotten this year. We had so many come out. We've got so much more next year, and apparently till the end of time. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and TV shows right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.